Hey there, it's Pat from PJM Scheduling Services. So, a user named Devong had a recommendation for us to do a series for working through the appendix of construction project scheduling and control by Mubarak. Seems to be a popular scheduling book. And this Appendix A, which here's the link up here, I'll include it in the notes below, has a really great example project to work through with 9 different assignments, from basically creating the schedule itself to cost loading and resource loading it, and then adding in like change orders and impacts and stuff like that, compressing the schedule. So I mean, it's a great example that to me kind of works through a lot of the issues that you might go through just scheduling your own project. So hopefully it covers a lot of topics that maybe you have some questions about. And this series will be kind of longer form. So I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it in less than 5 minutes. It might be 20 minutes of video or something like that. But hang in there, and if it's a topic you're interested in, it'll be a good guide for getting you started and going on a lot of different scenarios in P6. So yeah, here's the appendix. If you want to follow along, we're dealing with a 4,000 square foot building. It's 3 stories. First story being a slab on grade. Second one is a cast in place elevated slab. There's CMU walls and concrete columns, and the roof is made of wood trusses. So I'll let you go through the general guidelines, but basically what we're doing is we're going to create a project that's going to start on August 2nd. We're going to enter in some holidays and some rain days. We have we have some responsibility codes. So the general contractor is going to hire all of these different trades here, and we have some different areas. So we have 4 designated areas. So we'll turn these into activity codes. And then we have a table here of all of the activities that we're going to be adding. We have the ID, the name, the duration, the immediately preceding activity, just a fancy way of saying predecessor, the relationship type, the lag, the responsibility, which corresponds back here to this table, and then the area, which is going to be one of those 4 areas, all first, second, or roof. So once we get all of that information into P6, then there's a couple assignments to do. So what is the finish date, printing some reports off and stuff like that. So this will be our video today. We'll just go through this. So what I've done is I've taken that table that's in the appendix and I've just put it into Excel. I really like dealing with Excel because it allows me to import stuff directly from Excel into P6. So let's go ahead and start with creating our project, and then we're going to create some import templates to basically be able to grab the information from this table and put it into P6. So let's go ahead and start there. All right, step 1, we're going to go ahead and create our project. It's going to go under Enterprise. We're going to call this one, let's go ahead and look here. This is the Tampa Office Building 01. So I'm going to call this Tampa Office Building baseline. Project name, Tampa Office Building 01, and we'll call this baseline schedule. All right. Next, our planned start date, it said, was going to be August 2nd, 2010. Let's go ahead and finish that. We're going to leave the must finish by open. So we have that. Let's go ahead and right click and open that. All right. So we don't have any activities in here. First things first, we want to add in our activity codes. So the table, here's the table that we're going to be adding in. So we have the loading here. So we have our table of the various responsibilities that we're going to be adding and the areas. So let's go ahead and start there. We have our activity codes. Nothing's been set up yet, so we have we're going to choose project codes instead of any of the other ones. So make sure you're on the project radio button. Go ahead and modify. Our first one's going to be responsibility. And then our second one is going to be area. All right, so we're going to start with our area, and we have all, first, second, and roof. And we'll just add some description here. All areas, first floor, second floor, roof level. All right, now we're going to do our responsibilities, and we have a few here. ACAL, I'm just going to go down the line here. Wall, Mart, Mace, Ross, PLMX, Rabbit. I'm just using the insert key on my keyboard as a shortcut key, and that allows me to insert a row without having to click that add button every time. And I'm going to do one for GC, for the general contractor. All right, so going for the description, we have all seasons AC and heating. We have wall to wall, master art landscape, Mace and Company, Ross carpentry and framing, plumbing experts, Rabbit the roofer, seems like a good roofing company, Tile and Carpet Co. Inc., windows and doors, and we have our Zap Electric. I don't know if I'd hire them if they're getting zapped, but that's cool. All right, so we got responsibility and our area codes. Those are all set and ready to go. So let's go ahead and first thing I want to do is get all of these activities into P6. So what I could be doing is just adding the individual activity and calling this, activity 1000, and this is my NTP, and changing this to a start milestone. I just find it's just long and arduous to be entering stuff manually when we can import it from Excel. So what I'm going to do is just create a template to enter my activity IDs, my descriptions, and my durations. So let's go ahead back to P6 and let's create that template. We're going to go Excel, activities. We're going to do, I had started this one up here, and all we need is the activity ID, the name, and the original duration. So if you don't have those, create, just select those columns and we'll press OK, and we're going to export that to a location that we can easily find, which will be right here. All right, so now we have our ID, our name, and our duration. I'm going to delete these other columns that I don't need, and I'm just focusing on the three I mentioned. So going back to this here, I already have everything nice and lined up, so I'm just going to copy this whole table, copy that, and I'm going to paste that into here. What I need to do is get rid of all of these blank rows, because if I look at this example sheet over here, basically what it means is like activity 1040, the predecessor to that is both 1030, which is a start to start, and a finish to finish. So we're going to have some blank rows here where we just need to get rid of them, because it's just saying like that this activity 1130 has a bunch of predecessors, which are these guys over here. So Those aren't more activities, they're just how the activities are tied together. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just highlight all of these. I'm going to go to data and I'm going to create a filter, and I'm going to click on, I want to expose all of the blanks. So now I can just delete all of those rows, all of those blank rows. Let's go ahead and delete. And that looks pretty good, except I got a couple stragglers down here. Delete those. So now we have our IDs, our descriptions. These ones that have a dash in them, let's just replace that with a 0, because those are our milestones. Perfect. So let's go ahead and we'll get rid of our filters here. We'll turn those off. Let's save that, close it, go back to our P6, and we're going to import that template file into P6. Activities, update existing project, yes. All right, perfect. So we got all of those in our schedule now. Let's go ahead, let's sort it by our activity ID here. So we have notice to proceed. Let's go ahead, since that's a milestone, we'll change that to a start milestone. And then scrolling down, we have our building dry-in. Let's do a finish milestone for that one. And let's go ahead and I kind of want to schedule, let's go ahead and schedule this on, let's move the data date here to August 2nd, 2010. So I can see where all those activities are. We can turn my highlighter off. So here's all those activities. The next thing that I want to do is I want to pull in all of the relationships. So going back to this spreadsheet here, like I was talking about, we have our activity ID, and the predecessor to that, like in this case, is blank. So that the notice to proceed is our first activity. And then we have our mobilization, which is 1010, and the predecessor to that is ID 1000, which is our notice to proceed. And we have relationship types, which if it's blank, it's a finish to start relationship. And SS is start to start, and FF is finish to finish. So basically what I want to do is create another template to import, and I'll show you how to do that. So going back to P6, let's go export and Excel. We just want to select relationships because that's the only information that we're going to be importing back in. Let's go ahead and create our template. I have one here for relationships. All you're looking for is predecessor, successor, the relationship type, and the lag. These statuses you don't need, but it won't allow you to get rid of them, so we can just delete them when we do the export. But make sure you have these 4 columns. Press OK, and let's go ahead and finish that export. All right, so here's our activity relationships. Let's go ahead and open that. All right, so like I said, let's delete these 2 columns. The asterisk just means that that information is not importable. So anytime you see an asterisk in one of these columns, it just means you can't import the data back into P6. But we have all the columns that we need. So what we're going to be doing is going back to our table here, and we have the predecessor, the relationship, and the lag. So let's go ahead and copy our predecessor over. I'm going to paste the values here, and then we need the successor column, which is simply this activity ID here, because this is the predecessor to this. So we're just going to copy these IDs over and to here. And what I need to do is anywhere there's a blank, I need to copy over the activity ID from above it. Because if you're looking at the table, here, like building cleanup has, so 1510, the predecessor to that is all of these. So I just need 1510 to be copied down to create, a specific link between this ID and 1510. So going back to our template here, I'm going to do 1120, copy that down. Just copy all these down. Man, all these little one-offs, painful. Makes your eyes go numb when you're doing this, but that's okay. We got to get through it here. All right, perfect. So we got all the activities lined up, and then the last thing that I need to do is the relationships. So fortunately we have those all in with the lags. So let's go ahead and copy those and paste those into our template. And anything that's blank is a finish to start relationship. So that's one of the things that are, so let's go ahead, and I think what I can actually do is, I'm hoping that I can just filter for the blanks. And we'll go finish to start. Did it do it? Perfect. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and turn that filter off. I don't need this top one because this is just saying that the predecessor to our ID 1000 is blank. So it's not, since it's not a relationship, we don't have to import that in. We have all of our lags. So this looks good. Let's go ahead and save that, exit out, and now we can import our relationships into P6. So we'll do import, Excel, and we're grabbing that relationships template that we just saved, and we're gonna import that. Update existing project, yes. All right, now we have all of our relationships in. So let's go ahead and reschedule. And this is looking pretty good. We got our notice to proceed on August 2nd. We have this sequence finishing February 18th. If I go back to our this guy here, the thing that we're missing is our responsibility code and our area code. So let's go ahead and we can do another import of that stuff. Because the alternative is you would add a column for your project codes, and we have responsibility and area here. And what you could do is, like, your notice to proceed, you could double click that, and then you could choose the general contractor, and you could individually be choosing your values for each one of these activities. Rather than doing that, since we have the information in Excel, we can just import all of this into Excel, from Excel into P6. So I'd much rather do that. So let's go ahead and create our template. We have export, Excel, activities. That's the only one that we need. We don't need any of this other information to import. And I have this one for codes. So what we're going to do is our two project codes, we want to bring these over, responsibility and area. Let's go ahead and export that. And we will, here is that file here. All right, so now we have our ID, and our responsibility and our area code. I'm going to delete these two columns for status and WBS since we're not using those, and I'm going to delete all of the values under our activity ID. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got. We have our activity IDs. Let's go ahead and copy these over. Paste that. We have our responsibility code and our area code. Let's go ahead and copy all of this data over here. The other thing that I want to do is I want to get rid of anything that's blank, because that is just where our relationships were, and we don't assign codes to relationships. So let's go ahead and delete anything with a blank. All right, now we have our IDs, we have the responsibility code and the area code values. So I'd say two things that you need to know. Number one, these values have to exist in your P6 library because it's gonna pull from there to assign it to the activity. So if you haven't gone through this step yet of creating this library of codes and values, this will not be a successful import for you. The second thing is these values have to match exactly what is in your import template. So like if this were misspelled and this said like AL, because that value doesn't match exactly what's in your library here for the code value, it's not going to know what to assign to it. So just make sure, it's good to go through your template here and just make sure that all of the values exist and that you've gone through that exercise, and then you'll have a nice clean import here. So let's go ahead and turn our filter off. Oops, let's get rid of these guys down here because that would actually throw off the import. So make sure there's no blank rows because it'll stop the import, and you'll have an error message if there's any blank rows in there. Let's go ahead and close that. And now let's import that template that we had. So we have Excel. Let's go ahead and do our desktop. And here is the file that we're going to import. Update existing. And let's go ahead and finish that. Perfect. So now we have our values all in. Yeah, if we go back to our assignment here, we've basically done everything on this except for we have not taken care of our calendar yet. So I'd like to do that, which is we have to enter in all of these holidays, and then it also says, where is that? In addition, enter 2 rain days per month. Try to distribute these rain days as evenly as possible. So if I go back to our schedule here, what I'm going to do is create a new calendar. It's going to be a project calendar, and you can choose a template to pull from. So I'm going to choose, I have a standard 5-day work week, doesn't include any holidays. So I'm going to choose that as the basis for starting my calendar. So I'm going to say 5-day with holidays and rain. All right, let's go ahead and modify that. Since we're dealing with 2010 is when this project was created, I'm going to start there with August, and it said do 2 rain days per month and try and kind of include them evenly distribute them. So maybe I'll do like 2 here. Let's turn that into a non-work. So I'm just going to go all the way until when the project is essentially scheduled to finish. I'm just choosing 2 days kind of evenly distributed throughout the construction duration. And I'll just go through May and stop there, since I think the project finished in February. So let's just start there, and then I think I got a few holidays I got to include. So New Year's, let's go back. So we got to do New Year's, which is January 1st, which falls on a Saturday there. I think we want to do, we'll do January 3rd as the non-work day. Then we have Martin Luther King, which is the third Monday, so that one. We have Memorial Day, which is going to be in May. Last Monday of May. We'll just throw that in there, even though we're probably not going to hit that one yet. We have Labor Day, which is going to be September 1st. Oops, or September 6th, sorry, first Monday of September. We have Thanksgiving, which is the fourth Thursday of November and the following day. And Christmas. So we got the 25th. We'll do the 24th. It says if a holiday falls on a non-work day, take the nearest work day as a holiday. So let's do that. And let's close that, and we're going to assign that as a calendar to all of our activities. Fill down, and let's go ahead and reschedule that. So that pushes us out to March 21st. So if I'm going through the assignment here, let's go ahead, and we've created our project. We've entered all of the activities, including duration, relationships, lag, responsibility, and area. We've scheduled the project, determined the calculated finish date, which we've done. It says go back to the site work activity and put an appropriate constraint in. And in the footnotes here, it says insert a constraint so that the site work will not finish till about 1 week before the end of the entire project. So if you want to do that, all you would do is, we're ending here on March 21st, and our site work activity is right here. So what you could do is you could do like a start on or after constraint, and we can go to March and March 21st. And so we would just say you can't start on or after the week before, March 14th, and reschedule it there. So that pushes obviously your final check and certificate of occupancy date out. So going back here, yeah, there's a few reports that it says to include. I would allow you to kind of work through most of this stuff, but I'll show you, like, when it refers to a tabular report, really all it's looking for is like just the table of these activities without the Gantt chart. And the way that I would do that is I would go to my print preview and page setup, and if you go over here to options, and you can turn off your Gantt chart, and that's going to include just the activities and not the Gantt chart itself. This didn't squeeze everything onto one page, so what I'd like to do is fit my time scale to, I don't know why this is turned off actually, but let's see here. Maybe if I do like a bigger page size, and that didn't work, but it does squeeze everything onto one page here. So yeah, all you got to do is turn off your Gantt chart and then fit it to 1 page wide, and then this is what my tabular report would look like. And if you want to choose, different columns to include, you would just right click and go to columns on your activity table, and you can choose from here whatever columns it is that you want to include. So you have your dates here. So for example, if I'm looking at this, then it says create a tabular report listing all activities. So that's how it's filtered. So it's all activities ordered by activity ID. Okay, So my first report is, if I come here, I have my activity ID. I'm sorted. If I just click here, I'm sorted from top to bottom by activity ID. And if I was to print this out without my Gantt chart, I mean, this would, to me, would suffice as the report that they're asking for. Here's all the activities sorted by activity ID, and I need to make sure that my filter is, I'm filtered for all activities up here. So make sure you got your filter turned on. Yeah, so I would go through these reports and try and work through them. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below. I'd be happy to make another video on, you know, putting the reports and stuff together. But for the sake of this exercise, we've gone ahead and we've created our project, added in all our activities. We have our responsibility codes, our areas. I will say, I guess before we end, I think there's one of the layouts is related to grouping it by area. So what you could do is go to your group and sort up here. Right now the default is WBS, that's how it's grouped, and since we don't have a WBS, it's just a list of activities. And what we could do instead is search for our area code, which is going to be towards the top under A. And here's that area code, all caps, and I can apply that. And so now we have our area and our first floor, our second floor, and our roof. So that's kind of nice. One of the things, I mean, you can mess around with this. One of the things I like to do, I'll put like the project at the top, and then maybe I'll do my area there, and maybe underneath that I can do my responsibility. Let's go ahead and we'll see what that looks like. So now we have our area, and underneath we have our everyone who's responsible for that stuff. One of the interesting things about dealing with codes is it's gonna show up where you created, like where the code value is in your library. So since general contractors is at the bottom, it's gonna organize it at the bottom of your list. So if you wanted to like move this up to the top instead, you'd actually have to go to your activity codes and responsibility, and then you'd have to put that up at the top, and then that would get organized up there. So mess around with it. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. I would love for you to subscribe to the channel as we make some more videos. And if you're looking to hire a consultant for your project, feel free to go to pjmss.com and reach out to us and let us know what you need. So, all right, have a good one. Bye.